Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Legends, Non-Classics. This is episode number 3312 and Doubleshot number 3206. We're discussing issues 5159 and 6166 of Impulse. And the reason I'm skipping 60 is because I discussed already in a Dwayne McDuffie trade. Yep, that's why we discussed it. And I'm discussing Hawk and Dove Volume 4, which is only 5-issue miniseries. And that will be my last Hawk and Dove book to discuss because there's nothing else to discuss with Hawk and Dove, sadly. Impulse, some of these issues involve basically fighting a guy called Frog Prince, where he robs trucks to get toys he wants. Impulse has to deal with him several times in the book. In 51, we also the first full appearance of Inerta. Yes, who basically Bart fights in the very next issue. And then Calabac shows up completely out of nowhere. You're thinking, wait a minute, why is one of Darkseid's sons here? I don't know. His appearance in 52 and 53 was doing completely random, like, oh, someone opened a mother box and poof, there he is. He returns to 63 and that's the last you see him in the whole book. It's like, I guess Todd the Zango's like, hey, I want to get on a New Gods train, just throw a New God. And the New God there was Calabac. A guy who has constantly been beating the crap out of by Superman for decades. Who in the animated series voiced by Michael Dorn. Yep, and then after basically dealing with Calabac for those issues, yep. Yes, after these three really interesting issues, and then we have issue 54, where it's a Day of Judgment tie-in, where it's basically Bart camping and then demons show up, which they show up with the Gentleman Ghost, a Hawkman villain, Baal, Mazur, and Bloodclot. Now, who are these three demons, might ask? Well, Bloodclot is a character who was from pages of The Demon. Mauser is from Hitman, so are both these two characters? Yeah, both these last two are created by Garth Ennis. And Baal, who is a frickin' bull who debuted Batman Demon, who is a creation of Alan Grant. Yep, Alan Grant created this guy. And of course also there's appearances by Jay Garrick and Satana. He's been discovered as a lot of the art for these issues. And 55 takes on Surreal, a one-shot villain, who appears as only this one issue, all relating to VR and video games. By the way, Todd the Zango does not do 55. It's done by Sean C. Barry. But he's been discovered to the artwork, and then we have 56, where, by the way, this is also the penultimate issue released in 1999, basically, yeah, one of the last issues released in the 90s, where it's basically Bart taking on a composite Robin Superboy, which is their take on composite Superman. And the ending of this issue leads into a storyline in Young Justice, where we have Dobby Diggles asking, oh, we need to show this Young Justice about old Justice. Yeah. So it's just a prologue to a storyline that has no connection to the main book itself. Not really, but it was great seeing Dobby Diggles there. Yeah, plus we have a guest appearance by Young Justice. Members of the team in the book are Robin, Secret, and Superboy. I'll discuss more when I talk about Young Justice. And then 57 has a Bart team up with Plastic Man taking on Mixie Mixaplick, which is interesting. And then we have a split story in 58, where Ethan Mascara does the backup story, but not the opening story. The opening story is by Jamal Engel and Gray, where mostly it's a Max Mercury story in the opening one, and the backup story is basically Bart gets sick, and the whole thing is trying to cure him. 59 involves basically Arrowlet just returning to the series. Yes, Arrowlet, who was last seen in this book back in issue 41. We would not see her again until issue 77. Yeah, and also the fact that Bart's girlfriend was jealous of her this issue because he's with a beautiful Arrowlet. His girlfriend is Carol Becklin. Like I said, 60 was Zoe McDuffie. Moving on. 61 involves basically Bart and Max Mercury team up with the stars of Stars and Stripes. They say here's a follow-up to Day of Judgment. Doesn't really feel like it at all. Yeah, where in the story you would probably think, oh, Max teams up with Stripesy, the robot, and Bart teams up with Stargirl. Nope, Max switches it up where Max teams up with Stargirl and Bart teams up with, of course, Stripesy, the robot. And there's a bunch of big guy references in here, which was kind of fun. It's mostly on Gentleman Ghost and something called Paintball. Yeah, it's who's a character who they decided to bring over for the pages of Stars and Strife this one issue. I thought it was really cool, and plus this issue was written by Jeff Johns. Yeah, he wrote this thing. And then 62 to 66 is a storyline called Mercury Falling, where the whole thing is like Max is losing connection to Speed Force, and this is basically Bart trying to figure out a way to restore that connection. Yes. And we have guest appearance now. Basically, Dr. Mark, who stars Bill now, is basically a supporting character. It's basically Bart working with a bunch of people just trying to cure Max, just trying to get him restored back where he was. And Inorda tries to insert his own way into this book, but it doesn't really go anywhere at all. Yeah, by the end of it, he's restored. Like his connection to Speed Force is restored, but it's like Max Mercury. It's like, yeah, the whole thing is trying to fix his connection, but it's more like Inorda wanted to have his Bill Petty revenge with Impulse. Eventually, he was found once again, and then he gets away. And that's the Impulse issues in a nutshell. These are pretty good. Give them roughly a 9 out of 10. Next up, basically, we have is Hawk and Dove, Volume 4. This is the cover for the first issue. Yeah, 5 issues. You probably think, did the Ketzels write this? Well, they said it's divorced. Nope. This book is written by Mike Barron. You're like, what? Yeah. We have these 2 people introduced here in this issue. Yeah, these 2 brand spanking new characters who debuted in John Byrne's Genesis book. It's Genesis! Yes. Yeah, it's yeah, he writes this thing, but it's kind of a really bizarre book. It's like the Hawk is basically Sasha Morris and Dove is Wiley. Basically, Hawk is a girl, which is something they will revisit later on when they have the second Dove's sister becomes Hawk. Good for that. And it's basically 2 people who just grow wings in their back, and we have this guy, Dr. Avalon, he's the one who's responsible for it. He gets killed off right there. It's like, ooh, cool scientist stuff. You're like, okay. And also we have a supporting appearance by issue 2, they throw in Pat Trace, the Vigilante. The character debut in the pages of Marv Wolfman's Deathstroke book. Yep. And she appears once she appears in issue 2, she's here for pretty much the whole miniseries. Don't worry, she still continues to appear afterwards. And it's been mostly working with Checkmate and have this guy called Lauren Fletting who's like the main villain in the whole book. And then the very next issue, while dealing with him, we have Waller sending out the Suicide Squad to deal with these two brand spanking new characters. You're like, why the heck is the Suicide Squad here? Like, why is Mike Baron throwing in the Suicide Squad? I don't know. The lineup is weird. We have Bronze Tiger, Count Vertigo, Deadshot, Shrapnel. Okay. We have Suicide Squad veterans. But I throw this original character, Cortez, who, she and 2 other characters, this will be their sole appearances ever in comics, because after this miniseries wraps up, these 3 characters are never seen again. And of course, they had to fight them again in the next issue. Yes. Which then we had Terminal and Flex. Excuse me. And then by the final issue, they basically get rid of Lauren. They go to the Colonel. The 3 new members basically are never seen again. And by the end of this, Sasha and Whiteley become a couple. Yep, they make out in the final issue. And if you're really curious, are these 2 ever seen again in comics? Well, they appear a few times after this. The female Hawk guest stars an issue of JLA Titans. Yes. And Teen Titans Sick Falls Oranges, and an issue of Wonder Woman. Yes, an issue of Wonder Woman, and they threw in this Hawk and Dove people. And that's the last you see of them. John Byrne may have created these characters, but basically Mike Baron was the one who wrote the book. It's actually a pretty good miniseries. It's just that I think I know the reason why DC did nothing with these characters. My personal theory of why, it's like, ooh, Hawk and Dove, and they bring back basically, they're going to do the stuff they did with what happened in Armageddon 2001. Nope, we have 2 brand spanking new characters. And probably the reason why they didn't appear very much, because nobody cared about these characters at all. I don't think these characters were terrible. I think Mike Baron himself did a great job with the miniseries what he was given. Now you might be thinking, that doesn't include a whole order of like, doesn't have the lords of like the whole previous concept of Hawk and Dove. That's not here at all. It's just they just took the name Hawk and Dove and gave it 2 completely random people. And my guess is probably the reason why DC. And here's the weird thing with this miniseries: no trade payback for it, none whatsoever. My guess is because the book probably didn't sell very well. Now, here's the weird thing: Marvel in the 2000s released this supposedly was supposed to be 8-issue limited series. It was canceled to 5 issues due to low sales. This book may have done okay in sales, but probably not enough to do anything more with these characters. And here's a little fun fact: the next time you see Hawk and Dove series, ever published by DC Comics, after this miniseries concluded in 1998, mind you, because I think the first was released in September. So you got September, October, November, December, January. Yeah. So if people want to see their Hawk and Dove book, they would have to wait approximately 13 years for another volume. Yep, because next volume was never released till 2011, where it was written by the Themo Dove's co-creator, Rob Liefeld, who wrote and drew the damn thing. Got canceled after, I think it was 5 issues due to low sales. And then he got moved over to Deathstroke and Hawkman and Grifter. And for what he described it, he said he seemed like he enjoyed it. It's just that some of the creative stuff behind the scenes he didn't like very much at all, sadly. But don't worry, they did bring back the actual Hawk and Dove. The Themo Dove came back in the early 2000s. She came back, no problem. At one point she was killed, then she came back. Hawk himself would basically later die as the villain extinct, and then he was brought back in Blackest Night, where as a Black Lantern zombie, he killed Dove's sister. And she wasn't mad at him for that, probably because he was under possession at the time. So I think maybe he was jealous of the fact that Dove replaced him with another Hawk. I'm not really sure exactly why, but that is my personal thing on the matter. But Yeah, that's the last Talking Dove book. I reviewed the first volume, first 2 volumes in trade paperbacks, because I actually had the first volume in a Silver Age book. I actually own it. I bought it at Ollie's. Second volume I ordered from the library. The third volume, the 5th volume I actually purchased at, also from Ollie's as well. As for 3 and 4, read them here online. Now you might be curious though, is there anything from the Hawk and Dove book and trade paperback, or at least collected anywhere? The final issue is, as part of the War of Gods crossover, it's collected in an omnibus. But as for the rest of the book, nope, not really. I think if DC ever bought, I think that probably the reason why there's not been a trade, anything collected for this miniseries, my guess is either this is basically very obscure Hawk and Dove book, or there just is no demand. I'm thinking there's no demand. That's probably the reason why. Volume 3, I personally would love to see actually, because I thought that volume was pretty good. But that depends on DC Comics they want to do. But this book, I probably don't think so. If they do, they probably just include this miniseries plus their debut from Genesis number 2. And that's pretty much it for the book. So, excuse me, since this is the last Hawk and Dove book discussed, so Hawk and Dove is done. Yep, I have enjoyed reviewing Hawk and Dove. So, I am replacing Hawk and Dove with, well, Young Justice. Yep. As was, now, I'm going to do Young Justice Volume 1 and Volume 2. You're thinking, wait a minute, Volume 2 doesn't feature in continuity Young Justice. That's from TV show. Yes. But the thing is, I've actually read this volume, and also I did watch the first seasons of the Young Justice TV show. Yep, I'll discuss it later. Don't worry about that. So, that is pretty much it for a particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up we have is Super Sentai. Finally get back this after 2 days. Okay, next video. Bye.